Welcome back. Now we are entering the third and last technical session for today. We are honored to have with us Dr. Mendes Jacob to present the topic Low-Hanging Fruits, Tip for a Better NAC Grade. Welcome, sir. It's my privilege to introduce the speaker, Dr. Mendes Jacob, the CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited and Valiant Technologies, is an academician and an entrepreneur with more than 30 years of experience. He is also the professor and director of MCA program at Marian College, Kuttikkanam, and a former director of School of Applicable Mathematics, MG University. He acted as the chairman and member of many academic bodies constituted by the university and currently is serving as a member, governing body of Marian College and Marian International Institute of Management, Kuttikkanam. In addition to his capacity as a director, MCA program, he is also the chairman, Board of Studies of MCA course at Marian College. He received the Best Entrepreneur Award from the Chief Minister of Kerala and IT Education Excellence Award from the Defence Minister of India. IPSR Solutions Limited, under the leadership of Dr. Mendes Jacob, has bagged Samman Patra Award from the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, and 28 international awards for the best training partner from Red Hat, the leader in open source. He has a PhD in operations research and has to his credit a number of national and international publications. He holds the International Certification of Directorship awarded by the Institute of Directors and is eligible for becoming a director of any company globally. He served as a resource person for many national and international seminars and conferences in mathematics, management, and computer applications. He has organized, conducted, and served as a resource person for a number of faculty development programs, including UGC-sponsored refresher courses. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome you, sir, to start the session.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon. I'm actually happy to associate with the KE College and my colleagues at KE College Mananam. Actually, I started my pre-degree course. I studied there in KE College long back. And after that, I started my career as a lecturer in mathematics department, again in KE College. So I have a long-standing relationship with this particular institution. So thank you very much for inviting me to this program. So I'm here to present you some tips regarding some particular areas where every college can improve their activities so that they can score a higher NAC grade. Before that, I just sharing my screen. Usually when we interact with many colleges, they are having a lot of activities, lot of innovative programs, both academic and cultural programs, sports or extracurricular activities. They're doing many training programs for the upskillment of the students. But many of the colleges, they are poor in branding the programs or branding the activities, or we can say packaging their products. And this is for every Indian. This is a problem with every Indian or every company originated from India. They create products, world-class products, or develop products or services. But for the branding part or the packaging part, we are lacking the capability. So we are always joining with foreign countries or foreign companies for the branding purpose. Now, coming to this NAC accreditation and the whole quality improvement process, every college has some good practices, some best practices. And some colleges, they position it in such a way that they can gain more accreditation points. So I will give you some tips or some ideas about one or two areas. I'm not elaborating on all the criteria or metrics, but just mentioning one or two areas where we can improve. So one of the areas is the certificate programs or add-on course. As an affiliate college, every affiliate college, they can start an add-on course. All autonomous colleges, they can also do it. But for affiliate colleges, they can have the add-on course or certification programs. And everybody knows for an add-on course, minimum 30 hours duration is to be there. So that is the norms by NAC. Now 30 hours duration means it's not the theory part. You can include projects, you can include assignments or any other activity in these 30 hours. So designing an add-on course is important and a lot of steps are there. So we need the documentation. Actually, NAC is asking for the documentation of all these activities. So we should have a brochure mentioning the name of the program, summary of the contents, duration of the program, how many hours it will take to complete the program, then date of commencement, the contact persons who is coordinating the program and his contact. Then a model certificate to be issued to the participants that also can be documented. You can create a e-certificate, no need of any hard copies. Then copy of the MOU with the collaborating agency, if any. You can collaborate with any organizations or any industry for conducting this. Also, you can have an MOU so that these documents should be prepared before providing an add-on course. That's very important. Then the curriculum, the entire syllabus of the add-on course, the number of hours for each unit, then the assessment procedures, how we are going to assess the students, whether you are conducting exams or whether you are conducting Viva, something like that. And the outcomes also should be mentioned, the course outcomes. Now for NAC documentation purpose, year-wise list of the students enrolled in the program, including attendance sheet of the student participating with the signature should be provided. And summary report of each program year-wise along with the outcome. So this is the documentation part. So once if you do all these things, the verification part is over. That means the DVB team, they can verify the documents. So everything is clearly documented. And what we have seen, many colleges, suppose they are offering placement training. They are offering aptitude training. They are offering, interview techniques. They are offering resume preparation sessions, all these to students. And combining all these things, you can have an add-on course. In Marian, for MCA program, we have an add-on course where the content of the syllabus is aptitude training, then resume preparation, then we have the interview techniques, everything. So they will prepare a resume that can be an assignment. So in that way, we can convert this placement training into a add-on course. Similarly, we can have some other programs like, suppose we are doing some creativity programs, creativity exercises or something like that. We can have an add-on course. We can name it like a certificate course on creativity. In that way, we can add n number of add-on courses, and most of the colleges, they are conducting these such programs. But the problem is they are not properly documenting it or properly branding it as an add-on course. Now, what are the benefits of conducting this add-on course? And this add-on course, which can contribute to many matrices. I will just show you some of the examples. Before that, I will just give you some idea about the add-on course certificate programs, add-on courses, offering by many of the colleges. These are in various areas, like we can have food technology and preservation. We can have web designing and office automation. We can have travel and tourism, French, German, and Spanish. Okay, for developing language skills. Women and the political process, legal literacy for women. We can have sports journalism and commentary, actuarial science, then acting skills, creative writing, content marketing, even the BA literature, English literature or MA literature students, they can go for this add-on course like creative writing or content marketing. is one of the hottest areas nowadays because, you know, a lot of companies, they are recruiting people for content marketing. Vedic mathematics can be offered. Then advertising and marketing communication, practical accounting for BCom students, you know, if you can give a add-on course on practical accounting or computerized accounting. These are add-on courses easily, you know, delivered by the department. And for statistics students or mathematics students or even computer science students, we can offer data analytics course, social media marketing, another hottest area nowadays. FSD preparation, just we at Marian College, we are offering this functional specific document preparation for MCA students when they are studying software engineering course. So this is an add-on course. We invite a person from the industry so that he will deliver a lecture, and after that we will give them some assignments, some tasks, and like that, and they will complete the course. Human rights studies, environmental management and law, entrepreneurship, all these are examples. Then gender studies, media studies, classical and instrumental studies, disaster management, journalism, nanotechnology. I think I have covered many of the areas. So you can select the typical add-on course for your department or your program. And you can think of, you know, every student in the college going for an add-on course. That will be a big thing when you go for NAAC accreditation. If you can provide add-on course to each and every student studying in the college. So every department can offer add-on course, at least 2-3 add-on courses in a year, so that students from other departments also, they can also attend the program. Nowadays, it's very easy, so that even, you know, without physical classes, you can deliver it online, so that, you know, any student from other department also, without affecting their studies or courses or their classes, they can attend it online even in the evening times or holidays. Now, coming to the points we can gain by using this add-on course. Number one, the institution ensures effective curriculum delivery through a well-planned and documented process. This is a metric. If you can include the add-on course or project work among the list of activities when we are delivering the curriculum, you can have 10 or 12 activities. So among 12 or 12 activities, we can have 1 or 2 activities as one is add-on course, so that the syllabus is effectively delivered. In addition to the course, the syllabus, we are offering this add-on course. We can mention there. The number of add-on or certificate programs offered during the last 5 years. This is a direct question. So you can list all the add-on courses there. Then average percent of students enrolled in add-on or certificate programs as against the total number of students during the last 5 years. There also, I already mentioned, if you can provide add-on course to each and every student of the college once in a year, that means 100% of the students will be undergoing an add-on course. Okay. Without any difficulty, you can do it now. Then institution integrates cross-cutting issues relevant to professional ethics, gender, human values, environment, and sustainability into the curriculum. So being an affiliated college, you're following the syllabus of the university. And the syllabus of the university, probably these areas may not be covered. So to supplement that, if you can provide some add-on course in these particular areas, or if you can include 1 or 2 units related to these areas into your add-on course, you can claim that you are providing all these things in the syllabus, in the curriculum. So in that way, you can consider this as a product where we will have different, sub-products for this. Then the institution assesses the learning levels of students and organizes special programs for advanced learners and slow learners. And this is an important metric. And of course, you can have add-on course catering to the various students. Like, according to their learning levels also, you can design some add-on course. Only for developing some of the practical skills, you can have some add-on course. So in that way, you are catering to the learning levels of different learners. Like advanced learners, you have a different project or something like that, which can be converted into a book or even a research paper or something like that. And for slow learners, we can have some add-on courses which they can do it very easily, like social media marketing or even some other areas where you can look into. So we can classify the students into advanced learners and slow learners. And before that, you have to assess them based on your internal marks or based on some interviews. You can divide them into these two categories so that we can provide the add-on course to the two categories in a different way. Then, student-centric methods such as experiential learning, participative learning, and problem-solving methodologies are used for enhancing learning experiences. If you can suitably design an add-on course based on this experiential learning, or in the add-on course itself, you can add a project or for example, a problem-solving methodologies. Even you can have an add-on course on aptitude skill development or something like that. So in that way, you can have add-on courses so that this matrix, you can claim some points in this metric 2, 3, 1. Maybe the number will be different for affiliated colleges and autonomous colleges, but all these things, even affiliated colleges, they can do it without much difficulty. Then coming to the other metric, like a number of functional MOUs with institutions, other universities, industries, corporate houses, etc. during the last 5 years. So you can sign an MOU with a industry or some other institution for having an add-on course, for designing an add-on course and delivering it. For example, 50% of the delivery will be done by the faculty members of the college. And whereas if there is a project or something or some assessment is to be done, it can be done by the associated industry or the corporate house or something like that. So you can have an MOU with the company or the institution. Even you can conduct add-on courses by joining with other colleges. That is also possible. Nowadays, NAAC is encouraging colleges to have collaborations or student exchange programs or faculty exchange programs. And thanks to COVID, we can conduct all these programs online now. We can have student exchange programs or faculty exchange programs online, so that some particular course you can decide. One add-on course you can decide from your college, and another add-on course can be delivered from the participating college, the collaborating college, so that all the students will be benefiting. In that way also you can do it, so that you will get some points in this area. Then capacity building and skill enhancement initiatives taken by the institution, including the following, like soft skills, then language and communication skills, life skills, ICT and computing skills. Here also, if you can design some add-on course, you can claim points in these areas. Like if you can have an add-on course on language and communication skills, something related to that, then definitely you can claim points here. So these are again some of the areas. Then average percentage of students benefited by guidance for competitive examinations and career counseling offered by the institution during the last 5 years. So for this preparing for competitive examinations, you can have another add-on course. So that I think if you can design an add-on course in this particular area, you can offer it to all the students of the college, so that the interested students can participate in that. For example, even PSC coaching or other, even UGC net. That is another area you can look into for all the PG students. They can attend that program. So if you can design an add-on course in that way, you can claim points in this metric also. So in such a way, by using this add-on course or certificate programs, you can gain points in different metrics, not only in one or two metrics, in different metrics, and definitely it will give a good image for your institution when the NAAC peer team comes, because you are giving lot of add-on courses, lot of value-added things for this curriculum delivery and for the supporting the students. Now coming to the another area, that is project work, internship or field work. So these are the documents you have to prepare for the providing to the NAC. And for project work, internship or field work, for getting the points in this particular area, this project work or internship, it should be mentioned in the syllabus of the affiliated university. It is clearly mentioned there. Document showing the experiential learning through project work, field work, internship as prescribed by the affiliating university or affiliating university curriculum. For affiliated colleges, that is a problem. That's a constraint. But again, we can overcome all these constraints. If we are doing it in a different way. I will give you my thoughts about it. And for autonomous colleges, there is no problem. They can add internship or project work to all the courses if required. That won't be a problem because they are designing the syllabus. Now, these are the documents you have to file, like a list of students undertaking the field projects, internship program wise in the last completed academic year, along with the details of title, place of work, etc. All these details should be there. Then internship completion certificate, project work completion certificate from the organization where internship or project was completed, along with the duration. Report of the field visit. Then photograph should be there for the field visit. Permission letter only in the field visit from the competent authority will be considered. So these are the documents to be prepared for this project work or internship or field work. And even for project work which is included in the syllabus, just check whether we are having all these documents with us. This is very important because documents plus if some photographs are there for field work, definitely that will be a clear proof of what you have done there. Now coming to project work, again, if you are an affiliated college, you can add project work or internship for your course. Probably you will not get mark for this particular criteria 132, but for the first criteria, for the first metric, the institution ensures effective curriculum delivery through a well-planned and documented process. So you can mention that you are adding some project work, or we are asking our students to do internship during their summer holidays, or even they can do internship online now. Virtual internships are also available. So that will definitely add value to their curriculum delivery. So even though it is not in the syllabus mentioned by the affiliated university, we are offering this. That will definitely a value addition for your college. So you can mention it there. Then 132, average percentage of courses that include experiential learning through project work, field work, internship during the last 5 years. They have clearly mentioned that if it is there in the syllabus of the affiliated university, then only you can claim that. Okay, anyway, that is there. Then 133, percentage of students undertaking project work, field work, internship, data for the later completed academic year. That is also based on 132. So if it is in the syllabus of the affiliated university only, then you can claim 132 and 133. Whereas for 111, you can claim with a project or internship, you are asking the students to do. That is possible anyway. Then the institution assesses the learning levels of the students and organize special programs. Similarly, for the add-on course, we can have some projects for the advanced learners. We can ask them to do some projects so that those projects can be published as papers. Even that is also possible. And some colleges, they are doing it with the help of the PG students, 1 or 2 faculty members, they are guiding them. And they are doing some projects and they are publishing it as books or even research papers. With respect to KE College, I think KE College is situated in a particular place where a lot of backwaters are available there. Small canals are there. Yeah, anyway, it's a pilgrim center anyway, Mananam. So you can ask your students to study about the tourism potential of that place, or you can ask the students to study about the fish farming in the nearby places. And after conducting a project work or study like that, you can support the local community there with your expertise. And you can publish all these things as a book, giving due credit to your students also. You can publish it in the name of the faculty members. You can support the local community. In that way, it is an extension activity. So many things can be done like this. So for example, some students who are slow learners, some of them may be interested in doing some field work like this, because they may not be good in studying the concepts or the theory part, but they may be good in doing some practical work. So you can ask the students to like that, and this can be the outcome can be published. Then student-centric methods such as experiential learning, participative learning. Of course, if you are providing project work, or you are including project work or internship or field work along with your curriculum, you will definitely claim, you can claim points for this particular metric. Then, number of books and chapters in edited volumes, as I mentioned earlier, some of these projects, at least you can, you know, convert it into a book publication or a paper publication or something like that. So that is possible anyway. Then number of collaborative activities for research, faculty exchange, student exchange, internship per year. As I mentioned earlier, for internship programs or for doing projects, you can collaborate with the industries or some institutions. And again, for a faculty exchange and student exchange programs, you can conduct. And through this faculty exchange or student exchange program, even you can conduct an add-on course that will be beneficial for both the students of the institution, and for the faculty also. The capacity building and skill enhancement initiatives, just like add-on courses, while doing project work also, they will be improving their skills, some life skills or some computing skills while doing some projects. Definitely they can improve even their soft skills, because when they are working in a team, when they are working in a project, they are working in a team, so that their team skills will be improved. So you can claim all these things when we offer a project or a internship or something like that, in that way. Then coming to the student support and extension activities, and along with this add-on goals and project work, extension activities are carried out in the neighborhood community. As I mentioned earlier, with KE College Mandanam, lot of opportunities are there. During your surrounding areas, if you can look upon the local community, their requirements, their problems, you can solve. If you can solve their problems, that itself, will help you even getting some good points for the accreditation and all. The number of extension and outreach programs conducted by the institution. Here also you have 20 points. So in this metric also you can gain points while doing the extension and outreach programs. I think almost all of the colleges you are doing it. Just I already said, no, we have to brand it or we have to repackage it. The average percentage of students participating in extension activities during last 5 years. That is again a good score for that metric. So if you can see each of these projects even, or the field work as an extension activity, that also is possible. Project work, you can divide it into 3 areas. Like they can do a project work in an industry, they can do a project work in the local area, or as an extension activity. So in that way also you will gain points. Then average student percentage of students benefited by scholarships and free ships provided by the government during the last 5 years. This is again about the student support and extension activities. So last time also when I visited one college, they are providing lot of scholarships, and the government scholarships, and many of the students, they are availing it. but there is no documentation for that because the students they avail the scholarship and they leave the campus. Nobody knows which student has got it or not. So again, if you have a proper mechanism for that, if you have a scholarship committee, and only through the scholarship committee the student is availing scholarship, even the government scholarship or the scholarship uh, uh, fund instituted by the institution with the help of alumni and all. That is also possible because nowadays alumni they are very generous of about funding their alma mater, and we have our alumni association in Marian College. There we have a strong alumni association, and we are providing the fund for the scholarship of the students and for other activities also. So that is another area you can look into. It's a very easy area where you can gain points. And student support and extension, the other metrics are like placement support, how many students are placed, and how many are getting, they are clearing the examinations like national examinations or etc. So these are the metrics already we have mentioned it. And all these you can combine, you can club it, and for each metric you have to rebrand it. You have to explain it in a different way. That's the thing. The number of awards, medals for outstanding performance in sports, cultural activities at university, state, national, international level. Here also, every college has got some talented students, but maybe some of the colleges they may be lacking in some particular areas like some particular like in sports or in cultural activities. But if you can identify a niche area where there is little competition, and we can identify some talented students, and we can provide training so that you can the student when they get some awards that will benefit our accreditation process. Then coming to the engagement of students in the different activities. So when we conduct programs, we can involve the students even for academic purpose. For example, one of my student is helping me in the assessments and preparing question banks and all. After her studies, we have issued a student lectureship certificate, and after that she got admitted in Coimbatore University for her research work with a scholarship. So some brilliant students, are there. If you can ask them to, help you in the academic process, the delivery of the courses, or even preparing the content, etc. So you can provide them with some student lectureship certificate or some certificate like that. So they will be involved in the activities as well as they will be benefiting like that. Then average number of sports and cultural events competitions in which students of the institution participated during the last 5 years. We have to organize many events. That is very important now. Every college has got the arts club secretary or the student union is there, and again we may have different associations for each department. Have departmental associations. So if you conduct programs regularly in your institution or intercollegiate events with the help of other institutions, promote or motivate all the students to participate in such activities so that you can gain points in those areas again. So these are some of the areas where you can look into for when going for accreditation. These are some easy areas where the organization can look into for getting good accreditation points. So being in the afternoon, I don't want to elaborate more on these areas. So thanking you all for your patient listening. And if you have any questions or any queries, you can ask now. My mail ID and the phone number is also there. If in future, if you want to contact me, you can contact me, and we can discuss together, so that if we can come out with some innovative ideas or creative things, definitely both of us will benefit from that. Every educator will benefit from that. So thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. Now the topic is open for discussion. You can unmute the audio for clarifications. And those who are joining the meeting via YouTube can post their doubts in the comment box. Thank you.
Okay. There is one question. Can we offer add-on courses to outside it? So being an affiliated college, the university will not allow you to offer courses to outsiders. You cannot provide any certificate course to outsiders. But for affiliated, for autonomous colleges, once the Board of Studies and Academic Council, when they decide it, they can offer it. For to other the students of other departments, you can give. For example, in the same college, you can offer this to the students of the other departments.
Sir, next question. Do we need the permission of the university to offer the add-on courses?
No, it is not necessary. We can provide add-on courses. No permission is required, because we are providing add-on courses to our own students.
Sir, here is another question. What is the difference between extension and outreach programs?
Outreach programs, usually we conduct 1 or 2 days programs for, visiting a old age home, or visiting a nearby village and helping the locals 1 or 2 days. That is a program. But extension activities that will be carried out on a continuous, it will take 1 or 2 months, or even 1 year or 2 years to complete that activity. We will take it as a project, and according to the requirements of the local community. Suppose, for example, I will tell you, we had some extension activities in a village near Kutikanam, where we help the local farmers. We study about their agriculture producers, and we identified the market requirements, and we help them to sell those products in those markets. So that is a continuous activity. That is extension activity.
Okay, sir. Next question. While all types of scholarships can be included in free ships.
Okay. I think, for example, almost all the colleges nowadays, they have the self-financing courses. And for self-financing courses, almost every college, they are providing some kind of scholarships or some discounts in fees. Because when a student from a poor family approaches the management, definitely they'll provide some discounts, or some, even some students, they are studying free of cost. I know certain colleges, they are providing this facility. So they are not properly documenting it. In that way, these are actually free sheets. The student is studying in the college without any fee. So again, scholarship, we can have the alumni scholarships, as I mentioned earlier. We are having an alumni scholarship fund there in Marian, where we ask the alumni to sponsor a particular student. Suppose one particular batch, they may be sponsoring a student, so that the student may be coming from a very poor family, even from the labor community. So there are students who are studying in the college, they are going for some coolie work during the holidays. So we can have different type of scholarships like that. or even we can have we can approach some personalities in the particular area where they can have a scholarship fund. That also is possible, other than the government scholarships.
Okay, thank you, sir. I hope there are no further questions to be clarified. I invite Father Johnson Joseph CSD to propose the vote of thanks.
Dear respected Mr. Dr. Mendes Jacob, Honorable Resource Person of the session, Dr. Bridget Paul, Honorable Principal of the College, respected teacher participants and colleagues, Namaskaram. With immense pleasure and joy, I am here to express our sincere gratitude towards Dr. Mendes Jacob. It is marvelous to perceive the dawn and dusk of the day with the two great personalities' presentations. When Dr. Sabu Thomas, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi University, inaugurated the national webinar, we have another great personality from the management field to wind up the session. Dr. Mendes Jacob presented his presentation on a beautiful theme phrased as low-hanging fruits, tips for a better NAC grade. Being an entrepreneur and academic, Dr. Mendes is certainly the suitable person to handle the session. It was an effective input session by which the resource person could shed remarkable light in the dark areas of ambiguity and confusions, as NAC always renewing itself in the updating process to improve its quality. Criterion 2 is one of the major criteria which has to improve remarkably to improve our grade. Dear sir, you could give us great insights and clarity in many of the areas such as add-on courses, certificate courses, projects and researches, etc. I still feel that we need more time to interact with you. In the short of time, as we are concluding today's session, on behalf of the KE fraternity, I extend our great gratitude and sincere thanks for your great presence here in this online platform. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Father. Now, we have been listening to different eminent speakers celebrating on different areas of NAC accreditation process. We'll be continuing our sessions tomorrow. We have 3 technical sessions. The first session is by Dr. Suresh Matthew, Professor of Inorganic Chemistry, School of Chemical Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi University, on the topic Revised Accreditation and Assessment Format and Overview. The second session on how to conduct academic and administrative audit is by Dr. Jose James, former Registrar, Mahatma Gandhi University. And the third session is by Dr. Sabu Thomas on the topic Resource Mobilization for Research. Thanking all the eminent speakers and participants once again. We'll be starting our first session at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you all.